Yo, what's up, gang? So how about tonight's lineup for Game 2, Yankees against the Astros, and some news. I got a couple bits of information for you, and little bits like this are going to keep coming out, whether it's Yankees or not. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that yet. I don't want you to miss anything from now until the trade deadline, and even after the trade deadline. It's going to get crazy, and I'm going to keep putting it out for you. So with that, a couple pieces of news first. Number one, the Yankees reinstated Domingo Germán off his rehab, and is going to be doing having his first start of the year tonight in Game 2 against the Astros. In the corresponding move, they optioned Ryan Weber, designated him for assignment. It's almost as if this guy, they get him, they pitch him one game, they option him out, and then they repeat the process, bring him back, pitch him a game, option him out, and it's almost like they want to preserve options for every other player, and he's just, unfortunately, the scapegoat, in my opinion, which kind of sucks. I mean, it kind of sucks. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I don't know. I just don't know. So, now, with that, let's go over to Game 1 recap a little bit here. Jordan Montgomery pitched well, 6 1/3, just didn't get run support. And this is the 5th time this season that the Yankees have been walked off on games where he started. Just low-scoring games where he's not getting run support. And unfortunately, he's 5 no decisions. 5 no decisions, I think, or 4 or 5, yeah, of all those games. So it's bad luck, and it shows that the Yankees need a little bit more diversification in the lineup. And I really hope, like this game today, there's a couple things. I mean, Mike King, he got himself in a big-time jam, almost got out of it, but some of his stuff with him, he's got nasty stuff, particularly tails in on righties. It also tails away from lefties, so they might want to be careful playing the shift when the same type of hit that Isaiah kind of Lefty used to tie the game tonight was also the type of hit that was used to walk off on the Yankees, right? In between second and third base. But the Yankees were playing a shift, and then there was nobody at second to cover the ball that Isaiah kind of Lefty threw there. I'm not saying they would have gotten the guy out, but, covering the base might have been, but who else? It is what it is now. They lost the game 3-2, unfortunately. Again, Montgomery was good. DJ was clutch with a home run to put him on the board, and IKF tied the game. So, but it was a relatively low-scoring game, and this is what we're going to see. And the Astros, particularly, they're not a big run-scoring team, but they get the clutch hits. They still have a lot of clutch players, right? And that's where it's kind of hurting the Yankees as well, because they're not doing that for the most part they're not hitting the Astros pitching as well as the Astros are hitting the Yankees pitching, unfortunately, for the most part. So that needs to change. So what they do at the deadline, like these 2 games are really going to give us a good idea of what they need to do. And the first game showed me that, a reliever and a hitter who can actually hit some of these pitchers a little bit better would be a wise idea. Now, again, I've said this repeatedly. I mean, as much as it would be lovely to get Juan Soto, he doesn't solve the pitching problem, right? I would love to get Brian Reynolds and Luis Castillo. But we'll see what happens here. Now, we also know that Frankie Montes is now available. He's pitching tonight for the first time in several weeks. He had a little bit of shoulder inflammation, but apparently he's better. And if he pitches well today and shows that he's healthy, that's another pitcher on the market that could potentially be competing with Luis Castillo. So another option on the market for the Yankees. And speaking of Yankees, the other pitcher, Luis Castillo, the Yankees have now confirmed today, that's what I'm hearing, that they're now willing to part with Oswald Peraza in a trade for Luis Castillo. A few days ago, Cashman said he didn't want to give up him or Volpe. So now we're hearing that they're willing to give up Peraza. So it shows, and now again, actions speak louder than words. So saying it is one thing, doing it is another. But that's an encouraging sign that they might be willing to part with a top shortstop prospect to get a frontline pitcher, which is what we need, who also is under control for next year as well. So Soto is obviously the big get, but I would love it if they settled for somebody like Brian Reynolds too. Even though he's on the IL, he'll be off shortly, but he solves a lot of the Yankees' problems. The leadoff hitter problem. Once you see this lineup, we don't have a leadoff hitter, right? Somebody to set the table at the top. He also addresses a switch hitter. He also addresses the center field problem, all in once, and he's got several years of control left. So, to me, he's the better value over Soto, but Soto's obviously the big name. Now, pivoting over to the lineup, Aaron Judge is leading off. He's DHing. Gleyber Torres is batting second, playing second base. Matt Carpenter's batting third in the lineup again in first base. Giancarlo Stanton's cleanup in left field. Josh Donaldson's also in the game. Third base, batting 5th. Him, Stanton, and IKF were off this afternoon. Aaron Hicks is batting 6th in center field. IKF is batting 7th at shortstop. Tim LeCastro, who's also not playing, but it's good to have his speed and defense in there, batting 8th in right field. And Kyle Higashioka is at the dish, batting 9th. And then his battery mate, Domingo Germán, again, making his first start of the season. So hopefully he'll give us some innings. And then we have J.P. Sears to maybe complement him for another couple innings after that. So let's just say him goes 4 or 5, and you got J.P. Sears in there to maybe go 3, 4, or something like that. And then we won't have to gut a lot of the bullpen. So and they didn't gut a lot of the bullpen. They used King and they used Abreu. But I mean, last thing I want is Aroldis Chapman coming in the 9th. So, but that said, we'll have Clay Holmes and a very well rested bullpen as well. But I still think another bullpen arm would be a good idea for these Yankees. And adding a starter, obviously, and an outfielder who can hit righties. So those 3 pieces to me are the prime Yankee moves at the trade deadline. I can see them making 2 or 3 moves. I just don't know for who and when, but we'll see. Cashman has done some things before that we did not expect him to do, and vice versa. So, but that's the news. That's the lineup. I will go live after the game tonight, so I hope you're around. I hope you don't miss it, and we'll chat about it a little bit more. And then after this, the Yankees head over to Baltimore for I think a 3-game series against the Orioles in their revamped ballpark, and then they come to New York to Citi Field for 2 against the Mets. So very, very interesting next couple series, and the Yankees, they're gonna have to preserve a lot of this win, a lot of this lead, to show how well they can play against these guys. But they need, at the way they stand right now, in my opinion, it's not enough to beat Houston. So, and Houston's going to make moves, so the Yankees have to make a counter move or better moves. But we'll see what happens, guys. Let's get into it. I'll talk to you tonight.